Howdy, howdy, folks. Welcome back to Hoot and a Half.
Before we get started, a quick shout out to Fiji Water for sponsoring this episode.
Summer is here, and Fiji water is always my top water when I am out and about. Here is why I love Fiji water. First, it really is from the islands of Fiji, and it's not just a fancy sounding name. Drop by drop, Fiji water collects in a sustainable, ancient, artesian aquifer 1,600 miles away from the nearest continent. It is protected and preserved naturally from external elements. As the water filters through the volcanic rock, it collects a unique profile of electrolytes and minerals. In fact, Fiji water has more than double the electrolytes as the other two top premium bottled water brands for a smooth taste.
Unlike some other premium bottled waters, Fiji water's electrolytes are 100% naturally occurring. Fiji water is Earth's finest water, and since 2022, its 330 milliliter and 500 milliliter bottles have been produced in 100% recycled plastic, which we love. Get stocked up on Fiji water this summer. Make it the first choice for your next backyard party, beach or pool day, a hike, or even your home office. It's not just water, it's Fiji water. Cheers, Matt.
Cheers. Howdy, howdy, folks. Welcome back to Hoot and a Half. I'm your host, Matt King, with my co-host here,
Mike Sheffer.
And today we have our lovely guest on second time coming back, Connor Franta.
Hello.
You may know him from the internet, his best-selling books, 3 already, right?
3, yeah.
Wow. Thank you for coming on, Connor.
Shut up, Matt.
Oh, you're going to tell me to shut up? Should we also just hop right into it? So, listen, I know I'm in the doghouse with the book club because I went on Miss Brooke Averick's Obsessed podcast and I called out the book club.
And I texted her immediately and said, so when's the next opening for the podcast? And she said, immediately, come right on.
Wow.
Oh, so that's how it went down. Well, you should have seen my reaction today when I'm like, I should just catch up with like interviews and podcasts Connor has been on. And I'm sitting there, you know, making my breakfast, listening to you talk to Brooke, and right out of the gate, I get called out by them too. To give people context, if you didn't see me on Brooke's podcast, Obsessed, or saw the TikTok clip.
Was there a TikTok also that...
Oh, yeah.
Got
That's
a little bit of heat?
how we got the information. That's why it was
Okay.
so confronting, is that I think it was Will out of nowhere texting our group chat. He's like, Matt, what the fuck is this? Matt, it was just a clip that had enough traction where Matt was calling us out. And I felt so defensive in that moment because we had no...
Matt has a tendency to use podcasts as a place to vent out some of his personal frustrations, and sometimes it
gets me in trouble.
Yeah.
Big time.
Well, it's not like you're not on like 17
I
podcasts.
I wonder if there's some weeks where you speak on podcasts more than you do in real life with real people.
I bet so.
Like you have a camera on you when your voice is being used more than not. Just wanted to give another quick thanks to Fiji Water for sponsoring this episode. Thank you, Fiji.
Fiji is the best, and I am so stoked that they are sponsoring this podcast.
Me too, Matt. Fiji is the best and our favorite water. If you guys are looking for water, as we said, get Fiji Water. You won't regret it.
Oh, it's delicious. So pretty much, I vented about a book club because I expressed that I feel like when it's my turn to pick the book, you know, because as most book clubs go, the members of the book club take turns making the pick, and the group agrees that you're going to read that pick. I felt like nobody reads my picks.
Is that accurate, or is that just how you feel?
Here's what I'll say.
Please.
It's a little bit accurate.
Okay.
But what I will also say, and this is why I said on Brooks, is read the room. Is if the first one we read, which we all read, and didn't really love the genre, I don't know, maybe don't pick a carbon copy of the book for book number 2 and book number 3.
Whoa.
Maybe you might get a little bit fed up of murder mysteries.
I picked these murder mysteries as not because I
so
really
you
wanted
agree,
to.
they are all 3 murder mysteries.
I mean, there was a
They
reason
were.
why I left the book club.
Because you didn't want to read the second murder mystery, which was The Snowman by Joe Nesbo, one of Sweden's, or maybe Denmark's greatest.
Or Norway?
Norway. Maybe it is Norway.
He has a little dash through his O. What does that say?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no one wanted to read that. Well, I picked the first one, A Perfect Marriage by Miss Jenna Rose, which is a crappy little fun novel.
It was pretty fun. I will admit, it was fun.
And we were able to breeze through it, and we were all able to meet quickly and talk about it. And then, the second one, I was just kind of in the mood to do it, but no one read it. I was hurt. And then The Silent Patient, which eventually everybody did read The Silent Patient.
I did read it. Yeah, I read it.
By Mr. Alex Michaelides.
Couldn't tell you. It doesn't matter.
I think it's a very Greek last name. Fun book. There's even and that was suggested by Brooke. So now I've learned my lesson. I will not be suggesting carbon copies of murder mysteries of straight men with a terrible straight woman just getting up to just the same shit every single time.
That's fair. Also, it doesn't a book club, the point of it is to agree on what you're going to read. So if you present something that no one else agrees with, you are responsible for presenting a different option.
We probably should be more honest with you, I guess, in person of like, Matt, really, do we really have to read that? But also the reason I think I'm being tough on you and the reason all of us are is you're probably the most well-read person in the group. I think you have a very diverse reading list, so I feel like I just assumed every week you'd come with something new. So to like come with kind of this a similar version, I'm like, Matt, really? Like Matt, you read Hemingway.
I haven't read Hemingway in a long time. I did realize I kind of embarrassed myself on Goodreads, the app, because I thought it would be fun to log every single book that I've read. Because I noticed how Brooke, she's read like 800 books, and I'm like, you've read 800? She's like, I logged every children's book. So I went on Goodreads and I said, oh yeah, I've read If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. I've read A Snowy Day. I've read this. I've read Frog and Toad. Little did I know, I was basically putting out a status to all of my followers on Goodreads every single time. And people like that you read Frog and Toad. And I said, oh no. I just logged 100 children's books. And people think I just went on a big binge.
You just
children's
lost
books.
All your followers. Oh no, your Goodreads followers. Oh no.
I'm devastated.
Oh, no. Although I will say I hold my like Letterboxd followers and Strava followers more precious than like all my other ones at the moment.
Same here. Same here. It's a safe space, I feel like,
Yeah,
with
I love
both of those communities. I do have a little bit of a grievance with Goodreads. I think you should be able to give a half star.
I'm not on it, so you can't give it a half star? That seems ridiculous.
No, they think that it's unfair or it messes up the algorithm and scoring of the books on Goodreads. But I think books need a half star.
Remember when you used to be able to give YouTube videos
there
stars?
was 5 stars on YouTube
You could give it half stars as well. Like
Yeah.
you could give a YouTube video 4.5 star, which is like painful. It's either, again, now that it's like or dislike, it's just...
It's good, but not that good. You're like, what's the half star? Where did I miss the mark on it?
I would be so like, imagine again, every week you put on an episode and people are like, this one was 2.5 stars.
Or 1 star episode. That guest is just like,
I'd be like, you need to disable the shit quickly. My emotional stability depends on it. I need no likes, no comments.
I'm a fan of whole stars. I don't like half stars. If you want to do half stars, just have it a 1 through 10 rating system.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like I watch a movie and it is a 4.5 star movie. There's a difference between a 4-star movie and a 4.5 star movie and a 5 star.
I agree. I do agree.
But then wouldn't you just rather see it 1 through 10? Because
yes. Oh yeah, I really want a 1 through 100 at this point. Like
Oh,
I want to be like 76.
Like IMDb rating, you you would want to rate a movie 76.
I think so.
3 or 4 stars.
Because it's like, again, sometimes I'll see a movie and I'll look back at my previous ratings and be like, is this horror really the same type of 3 as this action movie?
Yeah.
Or this classic movie is the same 3.5, 4.5 as this one? I almost feel like I need a little bit more specificity.
Okay, a caveat for the stars. Okay.
So you're
A
supposed
new
to
show coming to ABC.
You're supposed to pick though the next book. Have you picked it? I know you've been busy, and I know that you haven't finished the current book.
No, but I will. I'll say exactly what I said to you a few days ago. I'll pick it today.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, we do have a list though, and I know that I have at least 3 we haven't read in the. We have like a shared notes app.
Yes.
And there's at least 3 in there that I had put in there, months ago. So I'll probably just pick one of those.
The Oxford commas, is that still the name?
Yeah, see,
It
that's
is.
the name.
Do you like that name?
I do. I'm still in the notes app.
Oh, so
Really?
You get
no
the
way.
updates.
Sometimes. Don't kick me out. Let me live a little bit.
It feels like you're lurking.
I mean, it's only when sometimes I'll get the update. Like Matt King just edited the notes app, and then I'll see it. I'm not going in there every day. Although I mean, I haven't really seen anything that I'd want to read anyway, so I don't feel like I'm missing out.
My cold, Jesus.
I'm really happy I got in for the Kurt Vonnegut read.
That was it. You
Parachuted in and got out.
Who suggested that one?
You.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did.
That James Baldwin. I'm
Oh,
suggesting
I did read the James Ball. I do like your suggestions now that I'm thinking about it.
classics.
And who was the Play It As It Lays? Who suggested that one?
I think my brother,
I think you're right.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
Joan Didion.
Yeah.
She's just a little angry for my taste.
A little bit. I think she has better ones. I feel like that was like a questionable intro to Joan Didion.
Let's go back. So you think every woman is angry?
No. Okay.
You think every passionate woman is angry?
No. We'll move on.
What's next? Do you think every gay man is a whore?
No comment.
You'd be right.
James Baldwin was a gay man?
Yes. Yeah, the book was about, I guess I don't know if it's technically gay. It might have been like a bi-gay relationship.
I think
in
so.
Paris.
Yeah, it felt a little ambiguous.
Yeah, it was a little questioning.
Like, call me by your name, like people exploring themselves.
Also, in the time, I feel like he probably was able to get away with it by making it a little ambiguous.
Yes, definitely.
That might be why he like did it that way. But he's also, have you ever seen an interview with him?
No.
Oh my God, he's so, like, watching him speak is brilliant. Like, he's so artistic and poetic in the way that he talks about things. And he talked a lot about like political issues and civil rights movement. He's the man. I didn't even know he was an author. Like when you said James Baldwin, I was like, oh, I've seen interviews with this guy. I thought he was
Whoa.
Yeah, he's the man.
I got to check it out.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying tomorrow and tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm just not enough into it where I haven't gotten to like any of the real meat. I love the premise. I love what I've read thus far, but I feel like I haven't. I just haven't.
Like it's like The Social Network, but with like more genuine human beings, and they're like making a video game, and it hops throughout like their lives.
They're making a video game.
They're making so instead of it being a social media site, they're making video.
But it's not like
games.
Ready Player One where it's like in a video game.
No, it's more like their relationship. They're like it'd be like their growth as a relationship through the guy or through like the process of making a video game.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. I'm also not. He's finished.
It starts like in the like early '90s or like the '80s. It's like a very like I think a Gen X generation with like video games. Like by the time at the end, like the video game that they're making is like for like PlayStation or like that kind of era. So it's not like too.
And you finished it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just been far more on it lately.
I just like to read before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Have you been sleeping well lately?
No, I didn't sleep well last night either. And I was like, damn, I'm going to come to another podcast looking haggard.
Is your air conditioner still broken?
No, thank God it works. No, I just like, I don't know. Do you sleep real I heard on a podcast you talked to the other day. Do you sleep in pajamas? Like, so you must sleep cold?
I start in pajamas. I put on full button pajamas, like full dad mode.
Like a matching suit and pants.
Matching set, pajama set.
What is this, the 90s?
I know.
I like doing it or wearing it like on the couch and stuff in my evening time as like a way to get myself into the routine of going to bed. And occasionally I will wear them to bed and then I get hot and I take them all off.
Okay. I thought it was like 2 hours into the night, I slip the pants off. Like it was like some sort of weird process.
Where did you hear of like wearing pajama sets?
I don't know. I probably threw on an episode of this just to be like, what do they sound like again? These men, these men that I see every day. What do they sound like in this podcast form?
What are you wearing? Underwear?
Yes, because I do wear underwear underneath them. So when I do take them off in the night, I have some undies on.
Did you try Let Me Sleep?
No, but now that Brooks told me, I am like just I'm like afraid to try it. It's almost like, what if it's so good that I'm then become addicted and I want one every night?
What's in them?
They're apparently like crack for sleep, where you're just like.
I think it's just it's melatonin and like ashwagandha and
magnesium, glycinate.
Yeah, it's just like you could take all these things individually and it would probably help your sleep.
Which I normally take magnesium and it doesn't seem to work. And then sometimes I'll take melatonin. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What really works is a little special gummy, and then that'll like put me right out.
A little marijuana?
No, a little Jesus in a gummy.
Jesus in a gummy.
Yeah. That's what I should be like selling. No, yeah. Sometimes I'll have one of those, and it will put me absolutely out. But obviously, I'm like, I don't want to do that every night.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to be dependent on a.
Oh yeah, melatonin can toss you off your cycle like completely, or you become reliant on it.
Yes.
And you have like severe.
Because then your body
withdrawals.
stops producing it.
Have you ever taken ashwagandha?
I have a melatonin that has ashwagandha in it. And I'll take it like once in a while. Like if I need to sleep and I have like an early morning and it's like 1 a.m. and I'm not falling asleep, it's a little melatonin and a little goes a long way. Like they make, I think the Let Me Sleep one's probably like 5 or 6 milligrams.
Oh, okay.
You don't need that much. It's actually counterintuitive. If you just take 1 or 2 milligrams, it's more effective than taking more is what I've heard and what I've experimented for myself.
That would make sense because a lot of these pharmaceutical companies will say, take 2 of something, and it really is just to like make it seem like the quantity is larger, and then you end up running out, and obviously like consumerism, capitalism. Yeah. So, but you don't really need that much.
I was trying to take ashwagandha every day as like a stress relief.
Okay.
And I realized it was like messing me up psychologically. Like I stopped giving a fuck, but like in a concerning way, where I felt very emotional.
When was
Is this Lexapro or like, are you
This
sure?
before I moved in to live with Patricia. It was back when I was living with like Zane and Todd. And I just thought it was like a great vitamin to like help relieve stress. And then I just started noticing like myself emotionally, I was getting a little numb. Not as like chemically or deeply numb as like an antidepressant or something that serious of a nature to do that. But I felt very out of touch with myself.
Huh. And are you the type to like take medication? Like if you have a little bit of a pain, are you like determined to have an ibuprofen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely seek it out. I don't think I would tough out like pain.
Okay.
I love an Advil.
Really?
Oh, I love an Advil.
I don't know why. And it's funny because my dad's a doctor, so you'd think I'd be like absolutely like, oh, there's a fix for everything.
Yeah.
I avoid it all the time.
That makes sense though, because you're like, I've seen the worst and how bad it can get, and you know how serious it could be, and you're like, if my leg's not falling off, I don't need it. You can just muscle through it.
We'll be right back after a quick word from today's sponsor, Quit with Jones. I hate vaping. I have tried to quit vaping more than once, and it's something I still struggle with. And you may be in the same boat. Quitting vaping is a journey that can feel like climbing a mountain without the right gear. That's where Jones comes in. Jones makes low-dose nicotine mints that are FDA approved, and I absolutely love them. Jones was started by two women who know the struggle firsthand. They tried quitting cold turkey countless times, but it never stuck. So they took matters into their own hands, creating the support they wish they had, and now they are sharing it with you. Jones offers holistic support to help you kick the habit, whether you're aiming to quit altogether, cut back, or just shift your mindset. Jones understands that quitting is a spectrum, and they meet you where you are. With FDA-approved nicotine mints, behavioral support, a welcoming community, Jones is your partner in progress. Did you know that 95% of people can't successfully quit cold turkey? And you may be part of that 95%, and hey, that is okay. It's tough out there, but with Jones, it's different. Their low-dose nicotine mints minimize withdrawal symptoms, making the journey smoother, and pair them with the Jones app for a winning combination. If you've done the routine of quitting on Monday and buying a new vape on Tuesday, it's time to make a change. And with Jones, it's a different story. Say goodbye to that cycle and hello to a healthier you. And let's talk about style. Jones comes in a discreet travel tin. I love the design. You can take your Jones mints with you wherever you go, and it makes things so easy. So are you ready to take the first step? Then head to quitwithjones.com for 20% off your first order of nicotine mints. That is quitwithjones.com/HOOT. Quitwithjones.com/Hoot for 20% off. I highly encourage you to try it out. You'll thank me later.
Oh yeah, and like my dad's so funny. So like he's so numb to I guess like everyday little things that go wrong. So if you tell him, he almost treats it like so not. It's like it's fine. Like I was like trying to throw away a broken plate, and somehow when I opened the door, a piece of it fell off. So like the shard went into my leg.
Ooh.
And I have like 2 scars from it. And I remember sending a picture, being like, "Is this stitches or is this like Band-Aid?" Because I'm like, I think I see fat. Like it's like I was like it's deep and it doesn't hurt, but it's deep. And he was like, like you could go get some duct tape. And I'm like,
Duct tape?
I was like, I know you are a medical professional and you would never actually do that in the workplace, but why the fuck are you telling me to do this?
That was his medical suggestion to his son, was duct tape.
Pretty much, yeah.
I like that. Because, like, honestly, it's probably all you needed. A little bit of tape, keep it closed.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I went and got, like, actual medical strips from CVS, but...
You had a health scare recently, similar to mine.
I know, isn't that crazy? And also, Joey Graceffa just had one. Did you see that,
right.
too? And I texted him to make sure he was okay as well.
This is on his nose,
It was
right?
on his nose. He has the stitches we had on his nose, the whole length of his nose.
Do you know if he had to get the Mohs procedure, which is like MOHS, or like that one is like the more like severe extraction?
I don't know. For some reason, I feel like maybe, but it was like ours, where you go in thinking, oh, this tiny little dot, I'm probably going to have like a single stitch or 2 stitches, but it ended up being like the full length of his nose.
So they got to go in there and dig that out. Like, it's not just popping a pimple.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought about it because I've only ever had stitches once or twice, maybe should have had it 3 times. But especially for something circular, you cut around it like an eye shape, and that's why it's so wide. Because you can't just cut a little circle and then sew up a circle. It has to be an eye shape so then it can close to be a flat line. So on your back.
Oh, yeah.
So on your back, it was a circle, and then they cut a little bit of an eye shape around it so that it can close in a perfect line.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which
Yours
is-
looks like perfectly symmetrical, perfectly
It's
placed.
so aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's very you.
It's
Like,
almost like a tattoo. Like it's perfectly placed, perfectly sized. It fits you well.
They were begging me not to get it. They were like, "You don't need this," and I was like, "No, but it looks so cool, Doc. It looks so cool."
Wait, what? They were begging you not
No,
to?
I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm
oh,
kidding.
oh.
I'm kidding.
But yours
Imagine.
was not fully diagnosed as like cancer. It was like
No, I'm not as
just
cool as you, Matt.
not as cool.
Stolen valor.
yeah.
I did go on a bachelor party recently with a bunch of like old friends, and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to talk about my skin cancer." And I get there, and one of the other guys just had melanoma.
Oh,
So I was like, "Oh, okay,
That
well,
one's the more serious one.
This guy wins for the cancer stories."
Yeah.
But yours was basically the stage right before.
Right
it could have
before.
become. What was the name of it? I have the.
Oh God, I can't even remember now. that you
it's
say
called
it.
severely dysplastic compound nevus.
Yes, exactly. And of course, that sounds worse than
Yeah.
melanoma.
Sounds
Severely
scary.
dysplastic. Jesus.
Yeah.
I thought I was terminal, honestly. And I was like, there's no possible way. But no, they were saying, yeah, it's one of those where you like could risk leaving it, but the chances of it growing into something worse are extreme because it was the severe versus I think Arden's was moderate.
Yeah.
But it was still a moderate, it's still something you take seriously because moderate could turn to severe within a week, a month, a year. Severe could turn again to cancer within a day, a month, a week.
And with the amount of pool parties you're going to, we can't be risking that.
I know completely.
And you had a lot of like history of being a lifeguard too.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're such a podcast host. And that reminds me.
Yeah, that reminds me.
So
You're
with
a
water,
lifeguard.
so you're raising money for charity for water, which I am for my marathon. Yeah, no, I was, and like it was wild. When I think back to, it's such like an annoying thing to say, but when I think back to like the early 2000s, the 90s, I feel like no one gave an absolute shit about sunscreen or real
yeah.
protection. Like I remember just almost thinking I was tough for not wearing sunscreen.
Yeah.
In some way.
There was a little bit of like bravado.
Yes.
They used to have sunscreen commercials. You don't see that anymore because we're just buying it. We know to buy it.
And they would put like dye in our sunscreen for it to be fun. It would be like purple sunscreen or
you're
blue
right.
Oh, I remember
sunscreen.
that.
We
I
would-
do remember the purple one.
Yeah, they were just like, let's add dye into it and put it on the kid's skin for fun.
Make it smell like bananas. And I'm like, no, just as sterile as possible. Clean.
Were you a lifeguard at a public pool?
Yeah, it was a public pool. I did swim lessons, swim coaching, and then eventually got added a water slide, so I had to do water slide duty.
Oh, that's like the best one. Wait, do you work up to water slide duty?
Yeah, because it can be a little bit more dangerous. Like more people get injured on the diving boards and the water slides. So there were plenty of like, people hitting their face and like getting bloody noses and what
Did you
have
ever
you.
have any close calls where you had to like save someone's life?
I had to save 2 lives. I had to save one kid who was swimming in the deep end and he shouldn't have been, and then another kid during swim lessons who, like I had to give him a task to pass and he just couldn't do it. But like that's the point of swim lessons. You give them a task and if they can't do it, and he just couldn't swim far enough. And like everyone else did it really easily, so he just was in over his head truly. And I remember looking out like, oh fuck, I was like, I gotta like go get him, he's going under.
Yeah.
Did you use any of the apparatus, like the little donut or
For
a
the
rope?
one in the deep end, I did. And I used to work this is how like hillbilly I used to be. We had one pool that was like a normal public pool with concrete and everything, and another one that was a pond with like lanes in it.
Like a natural pond?
They had a pond that they put the water through like a pipe into a sand pool, but so it's like disturbingly gross.
It's a pool.
They're
We're
snapping
making it work out here.
They are snapping turtles in there. Don't go too far. And that was the one where the kid was drowning, which is totally unsafe because the water is like murky.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it clear water?
No. It's murky. So in theory, like an absolute nightmare. Legally speaking, I don't think it's still open, but at the time, yeah.
Our pool did something that was so hillbilly in Texas where I genuinely thought it was a dream when I brought it up to my friends because they were like, that there's no way they would do that.
Mm-hmm.
When it was towards the end of the season before they drained the pool for the winter, they would have a fishing day where they would come with trucks filled with live bass dump the live bass into the local community pool. We would rent out
The pool?
Like a concrete pool.
yes, your standard Americana public pool.
It feels like
They
PETA would have a heyday with
Yeah.
that.
Yes, I like it didn't
And like
make
chlorine
sense.
water, you're pouring fish into like chlorinated water
I don't know
instead
if
of
they
salt water.
dechlorinated and it's like at a stasis to where these fish could live in it. I just don't know, where did these fish come from? And obviously it wasn't catch and keep. I think there was a contest though where you could like put them in a bucket, and if you had the biggest fish, you won. But then I'm like,
You
how did
participated
they
in
get
this?
all the fish out of the pool?
Did you participate in this?
Yes,
Like you
I had a memory of me doing it,
Cancel him.
and I told Unfiltered all about it, and they were like, there's no way that was true. I reached out to my friends. We had to go through deep in the archives online, and I found a local news video of them interviewing kids fishing in the community pool.
Do you like fishing? Either of you?
I
No.
No, I've never done it.
I like being on a boat,
Really?
and I like, I guess if that's what we're doing is we're fishing, I can do that. I like to chat, though. I like to chat a little too much,
Yeah. And like the point of fishing is usually like kind of silence.
keeping it quiet.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
really don't like doing the dirty work. If I catch, I'm like, ooh, okay, now you...
Unhook it, and gut it, and
I could catch a bluegill, like a tiny little
Yeah,
fish,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
can unhook it. But like the bigger of a fish, I'm not like. Wait, you're telling me I got to get a net?
And then you got to hold it by like the lip.
Oh,
You gotta
God.
do,
And then
like,
you
the-
see the inside of a fish and its gills and all of that, and disgusting.
I hate like putting the worm on after, like once you catch one, it's like, oh, God, I need to grab the gross worm and I need to like hook it.
Still doesn't make sense to me how it works, though.
Yeah, I guess why do fish like worms? That makes no sense.
yeah, where are they finding them
Yeah,
in the wild?
It shouldn't. Yeah, shouldn't it be? I don't know.
Is
Anything
that
else?
are you going fishing on a boat or like on the edge of the dock and throwing it in?
All the above.
All the
I've
above,
been
okay.
trout fishing twice this summer, and then my family cabin we go like boat fishing, dock fishing. I love fishing. I don't know why.
Are you like getting up at 4 a.m. like on the still water?
Getting on your fisherman hat, your tackle box.
Not that. We used to like. It's more like definitely tackle box. You know, sweats the whole deal because it's freezing like at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Trout fishing is like you get full waders on and you're
Yes.
up to your nips in the water trying to catch trout.
With your hands?
No, you use a fly fishing rod.
Oh, so you've done fly fishing?
yes, yeah.
What? Okay, fly fishing. I know it's a whole different type of technique and style. I know that you're pulling it, throwing it back.
Yep.
Why is it? What are they doing, and why are they doing that?
It's the line is much lighter, so it's more buoyant, and then the usually the goal of it is more of like the flies sit on top of the water, so it's more of like a fly landing motion. So it's a lot of like quick motion. So a lot of people will have the fly, and it's again mimics a fly landing on top of the water, and then the trout will come up and get it as it lands usually.
Okay.
So it's more of that versus like other fishing is bobber fishing. It's still water, so it's going really deep because the fish don't sit at the surface. Versus river fishing, it's not as deep, so they're kind of sitting at the surface and looking up. Versus you're bringing it down in a lake to them.
But you still reel. So once it's hooked, though, you then reel it
Yes.
in.
Yeah, so it's really weird. I mean, like I hadn't done it in years, so this summer was doing it again. But it's a lot of like motion. It's the same repetitive motion of like pulling the line, throwing it out, letting it drift a little bit, pulling it back in, letting it go, and you just keep the process.
This is like a workout then.
It is.
It's not just
honestly.
chilling
No,
with a beer.
it is not chilling. Yeah, at all. The good thing about trout fishing, we're talking about
Yeah, welcome to Fish Talk, guys. Your greatest outdoorsman here, Connor Franta.
Great thing about trout fishing is they don't have spine. They don't have anything like spines prickly, and and you also don't use barbs usually, so it's easy to get them off the hook, and it doesn't hurt them. So there's something more like peaceful about trout fishing.
A little more
where
humane.
Yeah, a little more humane, a little bit easier on your hands. I think they're prettier.
Yeah, because they're kind of spotted and like pinky looking.
Spotted, pinky looking.
Have you eaten fish that you've caught?
Not this summer, no. I haven't like past years.
Is that like a very gratifying and satisfying experience?
It's kind of nice, but at the same time, I've been a vegetarian for so long now, it feels like
Yeah.
sacrilegious.
Yeah.
Where I'm
Right.
just like, oh my God, how mean. Imagine getting plucked out of like the streets of Los
Like
Angeles.
you go to
and
eat a
fried
peanut
up.
butter and jelly sandwich and there's just a hook through your jaw. Like
Jesus.
Oh.
Yes, exactly.
they get yanked out into the stratosphere.
Lord. Oh my God.
So you discovered Chapel Roan.
I guess.
I mean,
Do you know what? No, but do you know what? Like, I had to think about it more, and it like wasn't as simple as that. Like, I saw an interview where Troy was talking about it, and his manager, if I remember, now I'm remembering correctly, because this is a decade ago.
Yeah.
Like, his manager was the one that sent us the link, and the link had again like 100 views on it, and I remember immediately being like, "How did this man find this unbelievably talented girl?" But also, like, again, if she only had 100 views, it'd be the equivalent of finding, again, like a YouTuber with 100 views. They're talented, but you're also
it's also
like,
hard to find. Yeah, or
Yeah,
like you're
it's-
even on the internet. I feel like, especially YouTube now, just suggests only the most popular videos. It's really hard to even
Yeah.
get somewhere where it's a genuine place of discovery too.
yeah. And like, yeah, so there was just, I don't know, there was like an element of also being like, she's so talented, but also so early on that, I don't know, it's hard to imagine someone actually blowing up from a tweet. But yeah, it was undeniable.
I'm a little bit behind on this. What exactly happened here?
Chapel Roan is a music.
Yes, I know who she is. And
listen,
her...
sometimes I know that you don't know.
Okay,
what's going
well, that's
on,
a
so-
fair question.
Oh, we know.
I'm
Listen,
familiar
so
with Chapel Roan and
The
Herbs.
internet is this thing.
Okay.
And YouTube is this
Okay.
medium. No, we just like, but a decade ago, we found a YouTube video essentially with her singing, and we immediately knew she was a star. So we were tweeting about it, and there's just tweets from us.
Oh,
a
you have
decade ago.
tweets from 10 years ago.
From 10 years ago with a video, again, her first ever song posted to the internet. And it's really just truly wild and funny that she actually became a star.
That's insane.
Because that's what we tweeted. Like, she's a star. You will know she's a star.
Wow.
And then 10 years later, she became a
And it
star.
happened.
And I've been like berating Matt with her songs for the last like 5-6 years of like, she released another one. See, she's so
Oh,
good.
You were on it so early. I remember I was working out right before I was about to get married, and she had dropped her album, and not that many people were talking about it. But Connor was the first person to DM me and was like, "Dude, you have to listen to this." I jammed out to it. Was like, it was amazing. But still, there was this lull for like a couple months after where nobody was on the train, and then now, massive star.
We'll be right back after a quick word from today's sponsor, ZocDoc. There are some things in life that can be a total crapshoot, like trying a new type of milk in your coffee, rolling the dice on a new workout class, or mixing it up with a new takeout spot. But finding the right doctor shouldn't be a total crapshoot. And with ZocDoc, it's not, because you have more options than you know.
ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment.
We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skincare, and much more.
You can filter for your doctors who take your insurance, who are located locally nearby, and who are a good fit for any medical need you may have, and who are highly rated by verified patients.
You can also see their actual appointment openings, choose a time that works for you, and click to instantly book a visit.
Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments.
We use ZocDoc, and you should too. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Hoot to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today.
That is ZocDoc.com/Hoot. ZocDoc.com/Hoot.
And now back to the episode.
No, I remember
Was
when
on it early.
Naked in Manhattan came out, and same thing. I'm just like, why does nobody care? Like, this is so good.
It's such a rush when like you find artists before they get big. It's like a good stock pick. And
Yeah.
then you just like
Yeah.
wish you had like invested more into it, but that would ruin the music industry if we could like invest in artists.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's
on
how I
songs.
felt. It's how I felt about Billie too when I first found her. Where I'm like, am I crazy, or is should this person already be
Yeah.
a star? It just felt.
I remember I was at
obvious
like a
to me.
Phoebe Bridgers was opening up for someone, and like Billie was like walking around like in the crowd,
Really?
but it was before she was famous. And I stopped her and I said, "Hey, are you Billie?" I remember I said Billie Eilish because I had never, no one was saying her name out loud. And I go,
Yeah.
"You do that song Ocean Eyes?" And she goes, "Yeah." And you're that Mac guy from Vine, that Love on Top song. And it was just. It's wild seeing these artists before they get massively big, but it's beautiful when you do it. And that's why I love like discovering music and actually like, because I think a lot of time the music that comes to us is already ones that are topping the charts. It's good to go out there and fish
Yes.
for new songs.
Great callback, Matt.
To link it all back.
Okay, so now back to fishing. My favorite fish is a salmon.
How do you like to go hunt for like new songs? You have great taste. I always love it when you are driving in your car. You're always showing me like the best new tunes. Where do you find them?
Yeah, and you're like a rare person that actually appreciates when I show you new music. Other people are like, back to something. They want something.
Yeah, if you put on the
familiar.
top 40 playlist.
Back to Taylor Swift, which also I do love Taylor Swift. I find I've like trained my Discover Weekly to be really, it's songs that have like 1,000 plays, same thing. It's like really niche music. And then the trick is that you just, again, you like click related, go to the radio, go to similar artists for that, and you just keep going until it shows you someone that has like two plays and is playing like in their garage with a banjo. It takes time. Like if you really actually want to discover new music, it takes a long time.
Oh, absolutely.
Spotify is really good though at suggesting you, like if you put on the radio or you play a song like a single, and then it will just suggest others, and you just keep going through that. And then you'll find someone that has like 6,000 monthly listeners, and I'm just like,
how?
This should be 600,000.
Yeah, completely.
Do you go to shows often?
No, which is odd. I feel like I should. I think I'm just really bad at planning that far ahead, and I feel like concerts nowadays you have to book tickets
Like 6 months in advance.
6 months in advance. And
For
I'm
the
like,
big ones, yeah.
Yeah.
The
And
hype
then-
artists sell out instantly too.
And I also
yeah.
feel like the shows, like the venues, are always like in like the most like armpit sides of town, and it's such like a hassle to get there. And then you're like,
Yeah,
what's
you
the
gotta make a
parking
night out of it.
situation? If it was like New York, where I knew I could just hop on a sub and zip to the venue and get there and make it really affordable and easy for yourself, but it's such a schlep getting to the proper venues. I feel like
Yeah, or if it was like comedy, where even like really famous comedians in LA will show up at small gigs really often, so you could in theory go see them in the in-between. But touring and musicians, it's just they are now on a machine where they're in town for one night, you have to book it 6 months ahead, and they won't be back for 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like, god damn it.
And it's $50 for parking,
Yes.
$13 for a beer.
Yeah,
You got to buy the merch.
But back to Chapel, you did did you reach out to her? You did, and you send her a little message.
I sent her a DM after officially after it was just like, oh no, she's crazy successful. I was just like, girl, you did it. I'm so proud of you. And she said something like, thanks, baby.
Isn't that great?
That's also kind of sick, and just speaks to you as a person that going back into your Twitter from 10 years ago, you're just finding Chapel Roan versus like racist tweets where people, like you look at other people's Twitter from 10 years ago, it cancels their career. You're out here finding Chapel Roan 10 years ago. It's brilliant.
Mine's still like, ran 3 miles, listen to Chapel Roan.
You're training right now for the New York City Marathon.
I am, yeah. I'm it's the first time I'm ever running it. I'm really trying to go below 3 hours, so I need to run
Whoa.
like 6:50, 6:45 pace for 26.2 miles. And I'm on like week 3 of training, so it's just the beginning.
Who sets the train? What is go? Well,
Excuse me.
excuse you. Who sets your training program? Do you know how to like just train for it, or do you like go into like some app and like type in what your goal is and how much time you have till then and just follow that guide?
So I used to follow just like
I don't think the mics are picking that up. So
okay.
we just talk through it. Yeah.
I used to just kind of go through this like escalator of so essentially it would be you just bump up your long run every week and you do it like 14 weeks ahead. So eventually you run like 22 miles before a 26-mile race. Okay. So it gets you kind of enough.
So you're never doing a full 26 before the marathon?
No, contrary. I think a lot of people do think that, but no. Yeah, usually even...
You got to save it.
Yeah, even pros usually only get up to like maybe 24. But even then, it's just so hard on your body that 20 or 22, it's more about doing speed work and training runs and like workouts in between that'll really get you there. So this time I'm focusing on these workouts. So like a couple times a week, I'll do a long run, but also a workout for speed, like 400s, 800s at a certain pace, like 5K pace or 10K pace. And my brother works for On Running, and he's giving me some advice on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
How focused are you about looking at the route at all? Or do you just think, like, are you that interested to see like what streets it's going to be taking? Is there any? I know New York is pretty flat, but do you like to visualize what it is you're going to be running, or would you rather just accept the day of and follow whatever?
I don't mind like the actual route, but I was looking at how the hills, like the location of any sort of hills, so I could mentally prepare for that. And like New York, I don't know. In my mind, New York presents as flat. The whole city it somehow presents as maybe a gradual incline, but like relatively flat. But it's pretty up and down.
Especially the bridges. Do you run through the bridges?
You do. Yeah.
Oh,
you run
those
through
are
a few.
brutal.
Yes.
The bridges are brutal. They're hard to walk up.
Yep.
I biked them.
Yeah, it's really it's not easy.
It is a slow.
That's part.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know which bridge? Williamsburg, Brooklyn, Manhattan.
I think there might be two. I feel like almost you might, or no, maybe not actually. Maybe you only cross one that's kind of the northeast side of the island, more like Harlem.
There's no. Are
Harlem.
there people that train? I mean, you're telling me no, but like I would think train for 30 miles and then 26 is like a cakewalk, or is that just insane?
I mean, I'm sure there's some people. I haven't heard of many serious runners or like serious marathon runners that have that technique, but I get that idea. I think in my mind it would, if you had like a full year to train for a race, I think, but I don't know. It's just really hard on your body, especially as like a 31-year-old. I really genuinely, I feel it. It's really difficult.
Did you raise any money for a charity to enter the race?
I'm raising money now, so if anyone's watching this and wants to go donate, honestly, it would be super helpful.
Shout it out. What's the charity?
Thirst. Oh my God, why am I was gonna call it.
It's okay.
I
You need to look it up.
No, I was gonna be panicking. I was gonna call it the Thirst Project because that's what I used to raise money for. It's charity water. Okay. It's charitywater.com/Connor. So I'm raising money for a water organization to build and drill wells in countries that don't have access to clean drinking water. So we're trying to raise roughly, the initial goal is going to be $2,620. So
Okay.
26.2. And then we'll
for
keep
the
bumping it up
marathon.
from there. But it's $40 gives a person water for life. So it would be really awesome if you could support my training. And
Link is in the description.
We're
Click that
donating.
link.
the more money I raise, the faster I'll try and run. Please.
Do you get assigned like heats for it, or does everybody start at the exact same time?
No, you do get heats, especially for these more serious races. You get corrals, are what they're called. So you'll be assigned like a 10-minute time that's slightly after the actual start time. So the real
Okay.
professionals will start right in the morning. And I think the New York one is like early. I think it starts at 6 and it's outside of the city. So you have to leave at like 3 or 4 just to get to the starting line. So it's this whole mental game of when do you eat during that time? How do you sleep the night before because you're getting half a night's sleep?
Yeah.
It's really,
Are you arriving a couple days before the race
I'm
just to
definitely
like
gonna,
practice and just because I couldn't imagine just like arriving in fresh and then you're hitting the pavement like the next morning.
Part of me wants to arrive at least like a week early to get really adjusted.
Because the jet lag too also is something to adjust for. 3 hours minus that. Like if you have to get up at 3, that's like waking up at midnight here.
I know.
And like Halloween, you have to party like that night as well. And
I
that's
know.
Right before.
Which is sad. I'm gonna have to be just like sitting in on Halloween night because I won't want to obviously drink, or I probably won't drink at least 2 weeks before, if not even a month before.
Yeah.
So I'll just be like, I'll be panicking, like I need sleep.
Have you ever ran any of the other like historic marathons that are in the country, like the Boston Marathon or like the Austin Marathon?
That's what I want to qualify for is the Boston. It's the most prestigious marathon.
The Boston one is higher than the New York City one, and you have
Yeah.
to qualify it for it by you had to have done another marathon to get into the Boston.
You have to run a time. So for 30 to like 40, the time you have to beat is 3 hours.
You have to be under 3 hours.
just to qualify to run it, and no one else can run it in that age group for that specific time.
That's
why it's
insane.
so. And also, again, it keeps lowering, like the Olympics. Like
how do
it
they know?
keeps-
How do they know your time? Like you
there
just
are
like.
there are certain marathons that are qualifiers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to
That's the
run.
qualifier is the legit marathon. I thought it was just like film yourself the whole time, and
I
then
mean,
we'll
yeah,
like just
yeah.
check it.
Use
and
your
see.
Strava time.
Yeah,
Hop in
exactly.
the car.
It's legit. It's legit. Please. You think there'd be almost a way to be able to do that?
Are
No.
you running with anyone that you know in the New York one, or are you going solo?
Solo, just me.
Is that something you'd prefer to do, or would you rather have a buddy there?
Honestly, I would love if someone could like bring me to the start and like be with me up until the actual race. But the idea of then having to be in
Worry
sync-
about someone else.
Yeah, if they were like a lot faster than me and their goal was just to pace me and I wouldn't have to worry about them maybe. But this idea of then suddenly I'm like, are we both feeling good at mile 13?
Right,
Me,
right,
such a
right.
people pleaser. I'd be like, "Are you okay? Like, you really don't have to do this.
It's really
Like,
not a big deal. We can slow down.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for making you do this.
exactly.
Are you doing headphones, podcast, music, or just
He raw dogs.
I
it.
raw dogs it.
Even
All
when
your
he's-
runs?
even- Yeah,
All of them. Nothing.
man?
it's incredible.
know.
That's
I would
It's-
need
it's
some music,
Psycho.
something.
It's like sick. But no, yeah. I've never done it.
Do you still say yes to like the water that they hand out and stuff?
Water, yes, but now I carry my own gels. I might even carry my own water for this one.
What are gels?
It would be just basically like sugar packets essentially, but the newer ones have electrolytes. They have different, again, vitamins, etc., where it's all designed to make you not cramp up and make you be hydrated and whatever else.
It's like a little.
So yeah, it's like a little
liquid thing.
What would you even compare it to? It's
Like
just
a pouch?
like a little pouch. So yeah, think like the applesauce pouches that little kids eat.
Yeah.
Out of.
Okay.
It's that, but it's like
Oh, I've seen that where they're like slurping the cups.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like 30 grams of sugar, 100 calories, and a bunch of other, again, electrolytes, vitamins, all in this tiny pouch that you probably have 6 of during the marathon. And again, you do it while you're running. You also probably need to have like, I don't know, at least like 6 to 10 cups of water while you're running.
Right.
So you have to train your body to not get a side ache and to run while drinking.
Will you have your phone on you?
No, probably not.
Who's
I'll
coming
probably
to
just have
support you?
Um,
Is anyone coming? I wish I could come.
I don't think anyone will
I-
fly in, but I have friends there that'll watch me.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was going to go.
Do you pee while you're running, or do you just
That's
hold
none
it?
of your business.
Yeah.
Okay, he can pee with.
What's next? You're gonna ask what bathroom I go to?
Okay.
Okay. I see what kind of podcast this is.
Yeah, we're trying.
What
to
are you
get
voting for, JD?
We're trying to get acquired by the Joe Rogan podcast
Yeah,
network. So.
absolutely. Oh my God.
Is that a thing though? I've heard people have to pee.
People shit themselves during races.
Actually,
Yes.
Actually, yeah. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
a real phenomenon.
are they wearing diapers?
No, it's usually one. Some people are so determined, I think, to keep going that they do it, and other times, I think people just again your body,
lose sensation of
Yeah.
The
That sounds
muscle.
awful.
because it's yeah. Oh
Somebody
yeah.
shits at least one marathon. Someone poops. I think.
Oh, at least I would bet for something like the New York City Marathon or Boston. I bet it's pretty. I bet
And they
it's a
still try to
lot.
finish with all the poop running down them.
Yeah.
Oh
Could
my
not
God.
be me.
Yes.
Could not be me.
You have to hug your like family at the end with poop all over yourself.
Oh, I mean, it's definitely like a stress before. Not to talk about poop on your podcast,
I mean-
but like the process before again is you have to worry about getting a good night's sleep. You have to
Yeah.
worry about eating at the right time. You have to worry about using the bathroom. You have to worry about having all of your gels and electrolytes and all these things with you. It's like to run a marathon seriously is so much prep.
It's like
ahead
trying
of
to be an
time.
astronaut or something. You got to have your body locked in, dialed in, sleep schedule, everything.
Yeah.
And this is not your first marathon though. You've
No, thank
run
God.
them before. Okay.
The first one, yeah, I was just like, will I finish? Terrified.
and did you?
Yeah. I think I ran 3:20. 3:20 for
Did
it,
you see
maybe?
the video Casey Neistat made about doing his sub 3 hour at like 41 years old or whatever he
It was
is?
so impressive.
Yeah.
It was so impressive.
I think you could do it.
It's just my body can handle it. I think I can do the train. It's just if like I don't get injured. I think that's at this point what I'm worried about is if like an injury will just take me out.
We'll
So my-
manifest good vibes for you.
Yeah.
100%, Connor. I'm
Should we
very
talk
excited
politics?
for you. Yeah,
Who
sure.
are you
I know. I
voting
said,
for?
I said, are you endorsing Tim Walz as VP? You know,
Absolutely.
because he's, governor of Minnesota, your home state.
Oh, absolutely there. For
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, we love we love the walls.
Do you think all of Minnesota is really excited that this is happening?
I think so. I've talked to every person I know from Minnesota is shocked that they actually chose him, but think he was, and at the end of the day, the best choice.
Very
for it.
clearly, that has been a great call to choose him.
Oh, he's been exceptional. I've loved him since he got into higher office. Before that, I wasn't really aware of him, but as soon as he became the governor, he just immediately was no BS, action, helping every community, never leaving one out, making the state more and more progressive and inclusive, and just, I don't know, so earnestly. It didn't seem like there was any agenda. It didn't seem like there were any hurdles that he was trying to get over. He's just a man that's trying to do the right thing for everybody.
I have a question about if you're the governor and then you get now appointed to be the nominee for the vice president, what happens to the state and the
I
governor
believe
there?
the governor can appoint their replacement until the next election.
There's no vice president governor, and
I
that
don't
just
know.
automatically moves up, or
I don't think
I
there's
should-
the vice president, but yeah,
I think they appoint
like
another one.
Oh,
but that's
okay.
also why there's like strategy between picking a governor versus picking a congressperson, because if you pick a congressperson, then I think they have a special election, and then you could lose that seat if like you, let's say, have a Democratic senator or congressperson, they get tapped for the VP, now their seat's vacant, you might lose that seat in the next. But it does seem like things are going quite well for Harris-Walz campaign.
totally.
And
Yeah.
so he's been the governor of your home state for 2 years now?
6 years.
6 years. Okay.
6 years, yeah.
So you've kind of like been very aware of him. He was not a stranger when he came on the scene a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of him before. I don't think
which
most
is
Americans
fair.
have.
I mean, like half of the other ones, all these governors, where I'm like, I kind of know that name, but I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you anything about who they are.
Josh
their
Shapiro, Gretchen Whitmer, like, yeah.
I only really recently learned about Gretchen, and
I don't
it was
even know
like
what she looks like yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did. It's because I think the Daily did an interview, so I learned all about her. I was
Okay.
like, oh yeah, she seems great.
Yeah.
Just a really important person you got no clue about.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he's been incredible and just been, again, making real reform over and over again, and has this crazy support in Minnesota too, which is wild to
Yeah, historically a quote unquote red state, but he's like,
Minnesota. No,
yeah. Oh, it's not.
No.
I thought he said something like they haven't won a Democratic seat when he ran, and like
maybe
since,
as governor, but
Oh,
in
okay.
terms of presidential elections, Minnesota's been blue longer than California.
Oh wow,
Wow.
Yeah, there was what was the last one? What was that? Was it Reagan, where almost everyone voted? Or no, what was the one where it was truly just Minnesota was the only state that voted blue? It was like
It might have. It was
60s?
probably Reagan.
Yeah, so it was
after
Reagan?
LBJ. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen those electoral maps of LBJ and Reagan?
No.
LBJ is all blue. Literally, it was like a 49 state landslide, and then Nixon was like a 49 state landslide, all red.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
This idea of like battleground states is kind of new,
Yeah.
and Texas also very much in play this year.
We
Yeah.
get very, very close. The past 2 elections, it got very
If
close.
I saw a stat that said if 1/4 of the registered Democrats who didn't vote would have just voted, then Texas would have gone blue last election.
Yep.
So like if you're a registered Democrat in Texas and you just vote, Texas will turn blue. Insane.
I know.
Are you do you like to vote early, ballot at home, or do you like to show up to the polls and do it?
Ballot early. Make sure I just get it done with, frankly, and then you
Yes.
don't have to deal with it day of. And again, if anything, let's say hypothetically you go there and I don't know, you weren't registered or something went wrong or what have you, then you still have time.
Yes.
Versus day of, there's this stress of like,
Yep,
I
there's gonna be
only
long
have
lines.
now. Yeah.
And I like when it's at home, you get to do all of your research on every single person that is on the ballot as well, and look up all the little YouTube videos, see their interviews, read the articles, have your full like true take on who you're voting for.
Voting early also helps because then once you've voted, they can focus their campaigns on the people who haven't voted yet.
Yes.
So like if everyone waits to the last day, they don't know who's actually going to come out and vote or not. If you vote, it tells the campaigns like, oh, we actually don't need to go and robo-dial or call or text these people. So the earlier you vote, the better it is for the campaigns too. But my question for you, when Tim Walz came out on like all the news channels.
He came out. He's gay.
That was the funniest thing. Biden out. As gay?
I love there's that meme of him where he said something like, I'm gay. And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
always like,
Yeah.
I think he was telling someone else's story.
was quoting
and they
someone,
just clip
yeah.
it. It was just being like, I'm gay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Was it like when I first saw the interview with him, that was the first time I ever heard him speak. No,
Really?
he was, and I was, I've just never seen this guy. And I was like, this guy fucking rules. This is awesome. There's no
rocks.
way he's gonna get picked. But I love this guy.
Yeah.
For you, when you saw him on TV, like starting to get in the VP, whatever, did he come off exactly like you've always known him, or was there a new elegance or like a new format to how he was speaking beyond what you're used to?
Maybe more like, I don't know, power and assertion, because I think Minnesotans again have this timidness or this again, we can be like passive aggressive. And
Minnesota nice.
Yeah, Minnesota nice is very real. And even in politics, there's, you can assert yourself, but there's this element of still being kind of humble. And I felt like he was representing his humble roots while still being direct and assertive. He was, he's the one who claimed the whole calling the Republicans weird thing. And like, that is frankly like
surprisingly effective.
Yeah, surprisingly effective, but also just so not Midwestern to even call anyone a name, even if it's as trivial as weird.
Right.
So I was like, oh wow, he's really stepping up. He's really again, he's not being quiet and passive and timid.
Right.
He's really asserting himself. So when I started seeing him more and more, I didn't know if my brain was playing tricks on me and the algorithm was just feeding me content he was already doing, or if he truly was stepping into a spotlight.
No, he was.
A chaperone in his own.
Yeah.
Yes, he was going viral outside, I feel like, of the Minnesota constituency.
Have you noticed I don't know how many like conservatives you're friends with from Minnesota, but have you noticed any kind of change in their vibe and maybe their support about him? Like now that if he's representing the state and he's getting to this level where they're like, well, actually, I wouldn't mind him as vice president.
I think only anecdotally speaking, I was on a bachelor. I was at a bachelor party with a bunch of Minnesotans this last weekend, and a lot of them are more like rural. Some of them work on farms, and I was just assuming I was going to have to combat a little bit of either bigotry or Trump talk or something. It was almost as if every single one of them was just like, they're such losers. I couldn't even possibly vote for them.
Wow.
And I don't know if all of them were traditionally Democrats, traditionally liberal, but it was not even a topic of conversation. It was almost like it was so embarrassing to support him.
Yeah.
They couldn't even fathom it, which is the truth.
Yeah. It's really interesting too how like the Minnesota nice, the boldest, meanest thing this guy could have said is like, they're weird. And like that's the mean Minnesota, like compared to what they say, you know, Sleepy Joe and all these like insults and childish nicknames, but also the fact that that is the thing that was locked in more than any other anti-democracy and threat to democracy and like all these scary words kind of didn't really work. And if anything, it made him seem more powerful. But just calling them weirdos is like pulling the blanket out from underneath him, and like a Minnesota guy putting on his
These guys are weird. They don't even. He doesn't even laugh. Or calling out like Trump that he like.
Yeah, he doesn't
can't
laugh.
even laugh. And I was like, oh, great point.
Yeah, he said he's never laughing with anybody. If he ever laughs, it's always at somebody.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, yeah, and it wasn't something I'd ever noticed. So it is really pulling out these kind of obvious but traits that we haven't really noticed. Again, calling someone weird, what does that even really mean? But then the more you think about it, I'm like, they are acting incredibly weird. There's this element of caring about parts of politics that just don't matter or have no weight. They're focusing on, again, the fact that she's a woman or her race or any of these things that I'm like, I don't actually understand. What does that have to do with your policy or her policy? It's really new. And to your point, what you're talking about before, I'm like, this is new. Like these battleground states, this way of politics, this combativeness is brand new. Where's the decorum?
Oh, that disappeared the second he came down that escalator in 2015. That was the end of but it's, he is also just like so seemingly normal as like a dude. Like, I feel like everyone knows a guy like him. Like he's got very dad energy, very uncle energy. And
I felt neighborly energy too.
Yes.
Like I think he is a very good like community leader. And like when he addresses the room, he is not talking at them, he is talking with them. It is like seeking towards a solution and is like positively aiming for it. It's a great vibe he just brings.
The greatest representation of his character, in my opinion, is the story most people have heard, but the fact that he was a football coach and the only teacher at the school who was willing to be the head of the
Gay Straight Alliance
at the time. And
in
this
the
is
90s.
Again, this is the 90s. This is the 90s in the Midwest. There's no way that was accepted, welcomed with open arms, common opinion. So for him to do it for no benefit, frankly, only a downside, to me shows his character outright. And that was 30 years ago.
And when he won the governorship the first time, was there a sense of like, wow, this guy fucking rules? Or back then it was kind of just like, we're not so sure about him yet. Like, did he build up over time? Because he's obviously done a lot, free school lunches, a lot of freedoms that he's like enshrined into law in Minnesota. He's done a lot of really good things. But was there like a promise that you were hoping to see fulfilled, or was it not as much fanfare when he first was running compared to like what he's obviously done now?
I don't think there was as much of I'm sure he campaigned on those promises. I think being, in California now and living here, I was probably a little bit not as privy to it.
Sure, yeah.
But again, I noticed it right away, hearing all this action of reproductive rights being focused on in Minnesota. They were like focusing on trans people and stuff that I had never heard growing up. So to see it being at the forefront of policy, not even just discussion, it was policy being made quickly, seemingly out of nowhere. Again, as like a forefront leader before any other state, I immediately was like, who is behind this?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Who's the one that's doing this?
So his record has reflected more of like a real ability to do cool things.
Yeah, and also like I think that there's this interesting part too, that Minnesota, people forget they have General Mills, they have Target, they have all these incredibly huge Fortune 500 companies, corporations, and he's like all about
capitalism.
all about
But
capitalism.
doesn't own a single stock.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is-
also crazy.
yeah.
Which is all, but then you start to think about the fact that he was in the military and then he was
Yeah.
a teacher and he's tenured, so he has all these other retirement plans that, frankly, in the Midwest, again, do you know how much like a house costs in,
Yeah,
in the middle of Minnesota? I look
Yeah.
around there on Zillow and just weep at the idea of some of these beautiful homes, especially the more rural you go. I'm like, oh my god, the house is stunning.
Yeah, he really
couldn't
just
get
has
a
been
shed.
crushing it for his whole career, like doing the military, then being a public school teacher, to the governor or to senator, then governor.
Yeah.
It's a great resume.
I think people are so used to all politicians being multimillionaires that they think it's not even possible for someone to be so not like not interested in money, or just like, I guess maybe like
Just
a representation of an
relatable, yeah.
average American.
Like public service, like actually believes in and does public service.
So yes, like, is it a little bit odd he doesn't seem to have any stocks or anything? Maybe a little bit, but at the same time, I know so many people in Minnesota that are that way. Like the average person in Minnesota is not.
When I think of a portfolio holder who's diversified and trading options, I don't think of a guy from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not. But that's exciting. It's good to know.
Have you ever met a president?
No, but I got to ask Hillary Clinton a question at the debate back in, what would that have been? Is that
2016?
Yeah, 2016.
What'd you ask?
They made me, this is tea. I wanted to ask something about, specifically, I think I wanted to ask something about LGBT rights. I had to because of course it's all vetted, so I had to submit at least 3 questions. And I think the ones I submitted were too aggressive. Okay. So they said, well, we still want you to ask one, but how about one of these 3? And then I picked essentially the most progressive one.
One that she had rehearsed an answer to, bro.
I mean, it was it might have even been more. They might have even sent me that's great. What about one of these 10? And they were all again, it wasn't all the same topic. But I was like, fine, I get it. Again, they can't let me have free reign.
Was this on a town hall or on a YouTube video, or what was the format of asking?
I filmed it ahead of time, and then it was perceived like it was a live question. I think because it was in DC. And
so you're saying the Democrats lie? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. So exactly. And I still remember she answered it. She was like, "Connor, congrats on your 5 million view followers." She talked about it. And I was like, "Oh, Hillary, oh, sweetie." And then she followed me back on Twitter that night.
Oh, hey.
Whoa.
Did you call her Hillary in your question?
I said, "Hey, Hill. How you doing, girl?"
What's up, Combine?
Yeah. Hey, ally.
Is this on the internet somewhere? Was it on a channel, MSNBC, CNN, one of those?
It was the town hall.
Oh, it was one of the town halls.
Yeah,
But they pulled up your clip of that's the question?
Yeah. It was
It's like Jeopardy. They were just
Yeah. And now to an audience question.
Yeah.
Truly. And I remember I had gotten off an international flight that same day, so I just looked absolutely haggard in the video. But I still wanted to do it. And that was the first time I remember too. I was trending on Twitter that night because everyone was like, "Who is this horrible twink asking this horrible question?"
No.
I kind of feel like I may remember this. I watched everything from that 2016 debate. I feel like if I found that clip, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Would you want to interview Tim?
Oh, I would love to
I feel like
interview
you
Tim.
should. You're a perfect candidate to do it. As
I
a
would
Minnesota kid creator.
I would love to interview him. Oh my gosh, I would love to do anything with that campaign to help in any way. Not only because I'm genuinely passionate about it, but I think it's important for us to use our platforms. And I don't know, I'm just worried that a lot of people aren't going to do that this election cycle, and they're going to sit passively out, either because they think one side or the other has it in the bag, or people are just kind of exhausted with politics.
Yeah.
So I'm worried that the worst thing you can do right now is be complacent.
Right.
To any sort of polling, to any sort of feeling that you have.
The polls that came out a week before the 2016 election had Hillary chance of winning 87% and Trump winning 36%.
Crazy.
A week before, it was oh, she's got this in the bag. You cannot trust the polls at all.
No.
It's very you got to just get out and vote, and that's it.
So yeah, I would love to interview him. Oh my God, imagine. I would love to do I should do an architectural digest, where we're doing a sit home at his home. You get to see his real. Yeah,
he shows you his guns.
Hell yeah, he's got guns. He's a veteran. What's not to love?
You go fishing with him, fly fishing.
That'd be great.
Oh
Fly
my
fishing
God.
with Tim.
Yeah, it'd be a late night with Seth where they get drunk, where it's Tim and I don't know. Yeah, fine, we'll get drunk. We'll get drunk and fly fish.
Yeah. Get drunk and play with guns. Have you ever been in the White House?
No, I never got invited to one of those things. I feel like there's so many, like Liza and who else? There were just like so
Tons.
many.
There's always like
Tons.
some little
It's-
creator like summit that they get to go.
I think
walk around
Tyler
it.
went to, like, so many creators went. Lily.
Did you ever go to any rallies?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've gone to a bunch of political rallies, a bunch of, like the marches and all those things.
I only went to like Obama, or 2 rallies for Obama when he was running the first time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Actually getting to see a president in
Yeah.
person, knowing they are real.
I just I feel like people don't. I feel like there hasn't been a focus just yet, but the idea of an actual, again, like woman, female president of the United States for the very first time, there just isn't a strange. I feel like we're forgetting how monumental that
I
would
keep
be.
forgetting about it.
No,
No,
but
I'm
like
already
seem-
like kind of accepting and being like, yeah, let's do the damn thing. But
She's already the first female vice president we've ever had.
Yeah.
Where she has a
Right.
real shot at being the first ever in history in the world for the United States to be and like, what would that do as a precedent to set for young women, but also like young people of color, all of these minority groups to see, holy shit, it's possible. Oh my God, like the ripple effect of that through time could be monumental. And I feel like there's this, again, we're like strangely ignoring that almost, it's so obvious that we're ignoring it, but I can't imagine like the historical effects.
Significance. Yeah, I think part of it is just how quickly culture shifts and how massive these things seem before they're done. Yeah. And then once it's done, like I think the fact that she is the vice president now makes her running for president like seem almost inconsequential. Like that is not a focus of her campaign. Hillary's whole thing was, I'm going to be the first woman president.
Yes.
That was a big focus. Now that she's been in the White House for 4 years, it's like, oh, it's normal to have a woman with this much power. And also, I don't know if you saw Jeff Daniels from the Newsroom. He like this was around the last election, but he re-inhabited the character and was like doing a whole thing about how many other countries have had women leaders, and like it's insane that America is so behind. He's like Germany, South Korea, all these places. Like
New Zealand.
It's not. And like the tweet, universal healthcare is such a complex beast that 32 out of 33 developed nations have achieved it, except for us. Like these things are not that difficult. And I like how quickly the culture. I think it's kind of a cool thing that it's so inconsequential that she happens to be a woman. Like that's not what matters.
Yeah.
What matters is like policy, positions, freedoms. Our boy Timmy W. Like I'm like could they switch? Like can he be the president?
What? Okay, so you hate women.
No,
you hate
I'm
women.
kidding.
when he was like speaking, you could see Kamala in the background being like, okay, tone it down. This is like, remember, I'm running.
Yeah, I'm the top
You give
villain
a
here.
little sip. She's like, oh gosh, they really love him.
Isn't that what she said too? It was a reason she really liked him, is he was so excited to back her up and to be, again, to like not try to take the spotlight.
Yeah.
Which again is funny that he like seemingly is a little bit, but which also I think will be interesting to have. I feel like they could have a dynamic. So, it seems like the vice president doesn't get a lot of credit while they're in office or doesn't end up doing much. I feel like there's a world in which this could also be a huge shift for that position.
We're tuning into both of them.
Yeah.
Like we want to know what they're both up to.
A true
'cause I
team.
always feel like one kind of goes away and we don't see them.
Well,
as
just
much.
we haven't had really sick VPs like ever. We had Dick Cheney, garbage.
How dare you?
Exactly. What do you think he did? He didn't shoot someone in the face.
I don't know, like these, and like who was Pence? Like Pence is not going out there doing rallies to like hype people up.
No, Pence was just like sucking on his mom's nipple in the back room or something.
Mother.
Yes, mother.
And
What
then
is that? What are y'all talking about?
he refers to his wife as mother because he has kids, and it's just really weird. And he talks about like never being in a room with another woman that isn't mother, aka his wife. However, he did single-handedly potentially saved the entire American project
Yeah, you were explaining.
on January 6th by not following the plot to overthrow the government.
Yeah.
But
Is Trump still like refusing to debate Kamala?
I don't know. I keep seeing different conflicting things. I truly think we're not going to like.
Wasn't one supposed to already happen by now?
Yeah, but there was also like he was making it out to be a bigger deal. Like she skipped it inevitably, but it was
No, I think it's still happening in September.
no. There
or
was
October.
one. There was one that he was recently at that she was supposed to be. I think it was the one where he absolutely botched in Chicago. I think she was technically supposed to be present for that or
But
something.
that wasn't like the debate.
No. Yeah.
But what I think he's going to do, just because he's like of the brain of like everything is wrestling, like he's not going to say whether or not he's going to show up till the day of the event and it's going to be like a blank stage, and it's going to be, will he show up? Won't he? And no one's going to know if he shows up or not. That's my prediction.
Classic narcissist.
Oh yeah, he just wants the attention while he can get it.
That's what's been so funny too, is seeing all these photos from his rallies and no one's attending. I'm like, it must be driving him nuts.
Oh yeah,
nuts that no one cares about him anymore. Or
And
like it's
the
so
same
much.
rooms that she's going to, selling out 20,000 seaters, and he has a couple hundred people, a couple thousand people. It's mega cringe.
I hope he goes bald. I hope he gets a rash. I hope he loses sleep. I hope he has acid reflux.
He's already starting to like show signs of getting old. Like, he's like,
he can't speak
he's like
anymore.
slurring and lisping and like
He's been doing it for a while, but now it's real bad.
Need we not forget, this man is the same age as Biden. The average American male dies at like what, 75? He's already past that age.
He's the oldest political candidate for president in the history of this country. It's insane.
It's insane.
Since Biden dropped out, now he's the oldest in the whole history of the country.
So like when people were comparing, being like, Biden's really old, I'm like, okay, our standards are so low. They're both old.
It makes Kamala and Tim seem like they're teenagers, and they're 50 years old. Like
Brad Pitt is like the same age as Tim.
That's actually interesting to say that.
Yeah, someone said that the other day to me, and it blew my mind.
Brad Pitt is like a couple weeks or a couple months older than Tim Walz.
What?
That's genuinely crazy. I did not know that. I guess I didn't realize that Brad Pitt was
50, 51.
He just looks damn good.
He looks damn good, but he's perpetually like 46 in my mind or something.
I mean, he'll probably start to age at some point, but being Brad Pitt also is a unique type of person to be.
Of course. Yeah, he's like the epitome of, he's like everyone's, what is it? Everyone's
type?
hall pass.
Yeah. Hall pass is Brad.
But like just
it's
thinking about
classic.
like they would have been in, high school chemistry together, like the two of them. Same class.
Hey, Timmy! Brad! You want to join the gay club?
Brad Pitt went to Kickapoo High School.
What's that?
I don't know. It's a random fact I have in my head. I know where he's from.
There's Kickapoo, Minnesota.
Is it?
Yeah, or Kickapoo, Wisconsin. But I don't think he's from there.
I've asked this on Unfiltered, and I've seen a TikTok of it. How many seagulls would you have to find in your house in order to become suspicious that somebody was putting them there?
One.
Yeah, what? A seagull?
So wait, you're saying if you walked in and you saw one seagull, you would think somebody put this here?
Yes.
You wouldn't think, oh, maybe you wouldn't think like you left a window or like a door open. See, for me, one, I'd be like, a window or a door was open. It just naturally got in.
Okay.
Two, I'd be like, who's leaving the door open?
He's got a buddy.
When I get 4, somebody's doing it. 4 and 5, that's where
The question is that you would get suspicious that somebody put it in there.
Somebody put it in there. Not that it... One, there's no way. There's no way one seagull you'd be like, somebody did this.
I don't live by the beach.
Yeah,
Sometimes seagulls do kind of come over here.
I feel like I've never seen a seagull within 2 miles of a beach.
What I think would, like, I could see a world in which Patricia
Maybe an owl. Okay, let's make it an owl.
Or like you found a cat, so I'm like, okay, there's a weird world in which your roommate says like, I found a seagull and it was injured. There's a seagull in the house, but I don't know. I just can't imagine there's just one in my house for.
A seagull's a weird one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it was an owl.
If it was an owl,
Ooh, an owl. Oh,
I think if there's.
I'd keep it.
I'd be like, I'm going to Hogwarts, baby. Where's my letter? But 3,
If there
4.
was 5 owls in my house, someone brought these here.
Yes.
Because they're usually pretty alone, I feel like, right? Owls are pretty. They seem also very. I saw someone said something like, I feel like we can't eat owls because they just look too intelligent.
Yeah, they look like tigers. They're so majestic
true.
looking.
I feel like they look like law professors at a college.
Yes.
Like if they were to speak, they would sound like a British Oxford law professor.
Do you think that's because of the
Tootsie
Pop?
Roll?
Yeah, the Tootsie Pop commercial.
Oh, maybe.
Do you think
How
it's like
many-
subliminally?
A 1, a 2,
3. That is so. I never thought
I
about
also
that.
think owls are used like as symbols in education a lot.
Yeah,
Like the same way we
intelligence.
always see like a worm and an apple to like signify like, I don't know, teachers and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, it's the same reason why like eat animals, vegetarianism. I start to feel bad if I think about it too much because some of them are so intelligent, even pigs.
I've been feeling that way about pork lately. Like I
So
eat meat,
intelligent.
I do eat pork, but like pigs are ones where I'm like, damn. Then the more I think about it, actually a cow is really,
Oh, dude,
really
when I see a
beautiful.
cow just like playing with a ball in a field, running around, I have to swipe it. I'm like, nope, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't want to know about this.
People have like pet cows and they like sleep in their house.
They're
and
like
stuff.
dogs.
I
Cows
read,
are
I read
giant
somewhere
dogs.
they're really not that different, even in terms of intelligence-wise, as dogs. And it started making me, again, not that I eat meat, but I'm still just like, oh my God, I start to feel really bad.
There's some I think it's a movie or a documentary on YouTube or somewhere that's going viral right now. It's just called Cow, and it's just the life cycle of a cow from like when they're born, and like they have a little bit of a life, and then they get used for milk, and then when they can't produce milk anymore, they get slaughtered, and it's just like supposedly devastating to watch.
I know, but sometimes I just think that's like the role of it.
That's fair.
Like deeply.
Chickens,
and have you
I
ever
don't feel
seen?
bad
Have you
about.
ever seen Temple Grandin, the movie? It's based on a
Temple
true
Grandin.
Temple Grandin. She
Yeah.
was an autistic woman who ended up also. She's now a professor at A&M, but she revolutionized the slaughter house industry because she figured out a way for like how to humanely be getting these cows up to a point where they are not in pain or misery. It's just like
Yeah.
the straight way to go, and she basically restructured how slaughterhouses work. After watching that movie and seeing the whole story behind Temple Grandin, how much compassion she had toward these cows, I kind of saw it a little bit differently. But it's a great movie with Claire Danes, who plays her. Highly recommend it.
I think as long as you know where, I think like it's the same with chickens and eggs. As long as you know where they're coming from and you're
Right.
okay with the idea of that, there was a great tweet the other day that was like, every time I walk into the egg aisle, I think about how much compassion I have for chickens today.
Yeah.
It's like, do I care if they're in cages, they are free range, or they are
right.
pasture raised?
Yes.
Today, I don't know. I'm willing to spend the extra $1 for pasture raised.
Yeah.
So there's an element of me that thinks that everyone who eats meat should, at the very least, one time have to kill one of every animal.
True.
Oh yeah, with your bare hands.
At least one time, just so you can see, or maybe watch it happen, the exact process. So
Do you think you could like snap a chicken's neck?
I've done it.
A chicken.
You have done it?
Yeah.
You have done it.
My-
Not saying I want to do it, but like it's one of those things where like
Haunts me.
I don't like hunting, but like sometimes I feel like I need to just experience hunting a thing one time for my own primitive self to understand, like, if it came down to it,
yeah.
I can say I've done it and I can provide. Snapping a chicken's neck is just something that I feel like I should.
I mean, I guess I'm trying to remember if I've done it or I've just been so close to it happening that I actually
think you
haven't.
did it?
Because my uncle used to have chickens and they like lived on a farm and all of that. And I remember vividly I can picture the exact corner of the back of his house they don't live at anymore. And I remember the exact, like him holding it. And I just remember
the sound.
being there and all of that. So maybe I haven't physically done it, but I've been around enough that it haunts me.
Yeah.
So I think the
feel like
average
in
person.
100 years, nobody's going to be eating meat. We're going to look at people eating meat as like the craziest fucking thing that we ever did.
So do you think it'll like be bioengineered
Yeah,
meat?
I think they're going to get to a point where they can just
Which,
grow
like,
it in a lab. It'll taste probably even better. They can engineer it to be healthier, less fat, whatever. But like the idea of raising and killing animals to eat, to me, it seems like in the future will be such a barbaric idea that we're going to be like, how the hell did we think that was cool?
Yeah.
My opinion.
But what about the agricultural industry and all of these people who?
We spend most of our agriculture on feeding the animals that we eat, and instead we could just use that to actually grow vegetables and like a large amount of like climate change is because of how much we're using our Earth's resources to feed chickens and cows and pigs that we're eating. So if everyone became vegan, climate change would be severely decreased.
Because people are just used to having meat too regularly. In most countries and cultures, meat is sacred, and people don't have it at every meal. Or in America, again, it's like truly every meal.
Every meal of the day,
which is just it's not sustainable.
Yeah,
I always like the way that I am able to compartmentalize it. It makes me want to eat it less and less. Is because I think about how Earth is the only place that we know has life. So to actively choose to take a life, any life, even I feel bad, honestly, about killing insects, it makes, every time I think to kill a bug, I think this is so precious. This is the only planet where we know that life exists. And this little bug, I could just as easily pick it up, bring it outside.
Yes, I'm a pick up, take it out kind of person. I
Although
really don't.
Mosquitoes and flies,
True.
I got to take them out. I'm sorry.
Oh, zapping it.
True.
I feel bad. I do feel bad
Zap,
about
zap,
it.
zap, zap, zap.
I still will feel bad about killing a fly just because it's like, it's just existing, right? Like it's not really bothering me, but God, when you're trying to watch a movie or something, there's just
Well, they're so fucking dumb. I'm always like,
know.
I open the door and I'm like, go. And then they don't do it.
Remember
know.
people got mad at Obama when he like slapped the fly in the middle of the interview?
Did he?
You've never seen that?
How dare
He's
you.
in the
No.
middle of an interview, and a fly starts going. He's like, hold on, and it lands right on his hand, and he smacks it and knocks it on the floor.
Baller.
Incredible.
yeah.
But then people were like, how dare he? Well,
he's
this
in-
was great.
Yeah.
Wait, are we good?
Yeah, that was great.
Hell yeah. No,
Connor, thank you so much for coming on. Please, guys, go check out his charity. Say it again one more time.
charitywater.com/Connor. Would
Go
be great.
donate. We'll have the link down below.
Please. That'd be really nice.
Buy his books. Follow him on Instagram,
Sure.
TikTok, YouTube,
Strava, Letterboxd.
Strava, Letterboxd, Goodreads.
And go vote and register to vote.
Please go vote. That would actually mean more to me than anything.
Cool.
I love it.
All right.
Love you,
See you
buddy.
next week, everybody.
It's been a hoot and a third.
Ah, there we go.
There we go.
Thank you.